No, 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 no.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here, live on the ground live. We have big changes incoming. Here, Jeff Kaplan, apparently, as you've seen on the screen in front of you, in his newest comment on it, fuck them Overwatch League coaches, says Jeff Kaplan. Fuck them. Really big stuff coming out from here on the ground. Sophie, thoughts? Thoughts here? Okay, she's leaving. Okay. Well. Yeah. We have, I got a little out of my room. Okay, so as you've seen, we have some big news. Some big news here today. Let me let my dog out of my room. 1 second. Okay, get on out of here. Get on out of here. There you go. Okay. Okay, well. So, if you guys haven't seen, we had a big developer update. You know what? Let's take it to the situation room. Let's take it to the situation room, chat. Let's get ourselves over there. Okay. So, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit more. We did have a brand new dev update. Come on out. I will, let me bring this up. Can my editors bring this up, please? Yes, they can. Very cool.
Your enemy cannot limit your hero options. Only Jeff has the right pug.
That is correct. So, if you guys haven't seen here, and we're reporting live on the ground, a new update has come out. A new update has arrived for Overwatch. They're planning hero pools. Hero pools. And one of the final comments, Jeff... Oh! I don't have Capogen uploaded right here, but... Sangirl. Thank you for the gifted. Pools, you say? Yes, pools. You did not hear that incorrectly. We've moved beyond Blizzard themselves saying, you want hero bans? Fuck you. We're gonna ban them ourselves. Little Rainbow with the gifted subs too. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a crazy day here in the newsroom. I've been corresponding with a lot of my different on-the-ground analysts, figuring out why, you know, what the timing of this could mean for Overwatch, and how this will affect the league, and with a variety of our competitive sources. Now, let's go through this together. Let's go through this together, chat, so we know what so you guys most importantly know what I think, the most important voice, and secondly, how you should think, so you as to not think on your own. Okay? So let's view this together. So starting March 7th, the Overwatch League will make 1 tank, 1 support, and 2 DPS heroes unavailable for selection for the matches of that weekend. So 1 tank, 1 support, 2 DPS heroes. And the heroes will be randomly selected from a group of eligible heroes based on play rate data from the previous 2 weeks of the Overwatch League. Now notice, this is different from the dev update, which supposedly... Oh, you know what? I don't have Wrinklebot on. That's probably the reason why you're not seeing that. Here, let me put Wrinklebot on for you. There you go. Could you perhaps adjust the box, Solomon? Perhaps adjust the box. So that might be different than the ranked update, which, you know what, let me find the ranked update. Do they have does someone have like the points summarized here? Let's see, does everyone have the points summarized here? Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's slightly different on the on ranked. Oh wait, game updates. But I don't know if they're gonna be doing 2 weeks at a time for the pools as well. I'm not quite sure. But they will be doing this pool system where, because apparently hero bans are too crazy of a concept, Blizzard will just ban them themselves and rotate them. Oh, Rainbow with the gifted. Thank you. So it is going to be a weekly thing where they change it. In Overwatch League, they'll do 2 weeks out on the data. So that means 1 week we could have Orisa banned, the next week Orisa's back, and then Sigma's banned. Or 1 week we could have, you know, it could be 2 off tanks, or 1 off tank. It could be like they just randomly ban D.Va if she's high picked, because it's randomly selected. There is no like you don't get to choose which heroes. They are randomly selecting the heroes that are banned. So that could mean we could have Mei, Hanzo both banned 1 week. So we don't have any Mei, Hanzo for that week. But then the following week they're both enabled. But in return, since BAP wasn't banned, then BAP is banned the next week. So it's a random on how it's done, and it's on a lagging 2-week schedule. In addition, this is the one that I found very odd. Hero pools will not be used for mid-season tournaments, the play-in tournament, playoffs, or grand finals.
I wish they banned you.
That's a weird one to me. That is a weird one to me, I must say. That's a little odd. But it's sort of like it's still gonna vary it up, and also if you didn't see, they said that they are gonna be directly attacking the meta with balance now. So they're no longer worried about keeping everything in harmony, the 4 nations. Jeff just said, fuck your meta. And just like, boom, boom, boom. Just fucking smashed it to pieces. And just said, we're just gonna, every week, push out patches. And just fucking demolish people. So, it is going to be a little weird, I'll say. r/Dota is laughing at us. Well, r/Dota can laugh all they want. Like 20 people make money in that game, and they're the ones that go to the international. Will strategy and synergy be more or less important in Overwatch League? Let's see. I will say that here's how my, you know, let me turn this down a little bit more. It's hurting my, let me turn this down a little bit more. It's hurting my train of thought. So, here's my view on it. Set plays will undoubtedly be gone. Realistically, in a lot of ways, set plays will be gone. Because it just seems relatively impossible for players and coaches to properly survive some of this. Now, remember, it does say in the article they'll be informed of each week's hero pool approximately 1 week in advance. So it's definitely still possible, right? I don't think it's, I should say it's definitely not totally gone, but it's still possible since they'll get an advance week notice of what the heroes are going to be. But I think now we drastically move into the, what the fundamentals of Overwatch. Well, you're hearing it right now. The fundamentals of Overwatch is now the most important thing. Coaches are now going to be graded on how they can develop a play. It's going to be how can they teach players how to understand the fundamentals of Overwatch.
I just think this is a weird move given that it has no impact on the finals, playoffs, and...
Well, it does have impact because the results of all of the regular season are going to directly impact who is going into playoffs and finals. So, it 100%... And also, everyone that says Krusty on Suicide Watch, Krusty is actually probably one of the best prepared for this, because the reason Shock is so good is that it's not about set plays. If you watch Shock play, and the best Overwatch teams historically play, it is not about set plays. It is about fundamental Overwatch gameplay, which is, do you know the role of your hero? Do you know how you want to combo those ults? And be able to, on the fly, identify how you want to combo those ults. And understand the economy of pushing, taking space, knowing cooldown usage. Personally, people that think that set plays in Overwatch are such a big part of the game are really looking at a very few specific examples. The majority of Overwatch is done, 80% of Overwatch, if not more, realistically, is done on the fly of, we need to know our ult combos, we need to know how to take space, when cooldowns are used, when to push, health economy, and it's not at all about set plays. Alright? And that is why a coach like Krusty is going to really succeed, because Krusty really worries about fundamentals in coaching and not about so much set plays.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome, Arax, to the chats. Welcome. So, is the game landscape going to change a bit? Yes. Do I think it impacts strategy? Yes. But guess what? Strategy in Overwatch, realistically, for the coaching side, is what, in terms of set plays, is probably one of the most minor parts. of the things in Overwatch League, because the most important thing to know, and it's within any esport, is the fundamentals of how you play, how you understand the concepts of the game when it comes to pushing, and that is what coaches are going to be focusing on coming this next season. Will my tier list change? I don't know, honestly. I'd have to think about it a bit. But I will say that I think people that are overestimating the impact of strategy are probably not... I don't think they're as familiar with how Overwatch League coaching really works.
I don't care.
In my opinion, at least top-level Overwatch League coaching. There are very, very few instances of coaches creating set plays. Very few. In terms of, like, overall. What is this? Is roll Q even necessary anymore? Yes, roll Q is 100% necessary still. And anyone that said, I think roll Q is very necessary because it still provides structure and consistency in how the game is meant to be played.
The season and then scrim. Exclusively with playoff rules.
Yeah, I mean, that could also happen, but that could also happen. Welcome to the chat, Leo. So, it's a very turbulent day. I had heard about this a while ago, actually, which is what I said, you know, it's going to be big. I had heard about this a while ago, but obviously can't say any shit about this.
Time for Avast to feed me an opinion on these changes like a mother bird regurgitating.
Oh, I'm feeding them to you.
Into the mouth of her young.
Do you think this is better or worse for Overwatch League and or Ranked? This is better... Okay, here's how I would say it. In a perfect world, in my view, you won't need bans, right? You wouldn't need bans at all. Because the meta, it'd be perfectly balanced to where you can just adjust. You can play whatever heroes you want. You can play however you want. But Overwatch, as we've seen, is a tough game to balance. And Blizzard has had very tough times balancing it on top of that. So, with their various philosophies. Now, they've adopted that because now they're going to do faster changes. And faster changes means it's a lot easier to fix broken shit, especially if they specifically target the meta. But we're not in a perfect world. So I think bans are a necessary evil. Did I think hero bans would be probably more strategic than hero pools? Yes. 100%. Thank you for the prime, by the way. I think bans would be a lot more strategic and a lot more interesting at the higher level. But hero pools give you a lot of the same things, but it's just more random, almost. And I will say it seems odd since Blizzard has had a whole philosophy of we don't want bans and we want all the heroes to be playable, and then go ahead and say like, well, actually, we'll ban, but only if we can ban them.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And in a semi-random fashion. Welcome to the chat. This is below my stuff, but here we'll put you guys above this. There we go. How would hero pools work in non-Overwatch League competition like Open Division contenders? It would be the exact same. Apparently they're saying it's going to work the exact same way, I believe. Is where every 2 weeks, the hero pool, it's like staggered. So, that's a little, that's what I've been told at least. But, I overall think the change is really interesting and positive, but I am conflicted about the consistency of it. I'm conflicted about the consistency of it. I do like that they've stated that they're going to be doing balance patches as fast as possible, though, anyways. It changes in 1 week? Yeah, I know. It changes every week. So Open Division and Overall World Cup meta are going to get tracked as well. I don't know about World... I don't know what World... about World Cup, if that's what you mean. But contenders and Open Div, yes, I think so. Or they'll just use the exact same data from Overwatch League for Open Div and contenders. It's very likely they might just take that data they use for Overwatch League and do the same. Is what I'm thinking. Does this update affect your Overwatch League rankings? It probably will, but I'm going to have to think about it later and do it. Like, I don't know, I have to come back to it and think about it a bit. So, I think for a lot of my teams, it won't affect them that much. Because most of the teams that I have at the top are at the top because of how good their players are overall and how good their staff is. Well, all the teams I have at the bottom are how good their players are and how good their staff is. It will affect probably the middle, if anything else. But the top and the bottom will be mostly unaffected. It'll be mostly unaffected in my views, because the best players and the best staff are still gonna have the greatest advantage. How do you balance around the meta when the meta changes every week, though? Well, the thing is that it's targeted, right? Because think about it like this: the heroes with the highest pick rates are banned, and let's say 1 week they're banned, and they come back the next week and they're played again, it's the highest. So if they see if one hero is being picked by far the most, you can examine, well, why is this hero being picked the most? And then banned every other week. Why is this hero being played more than every other tank? So it allows you to really factor in on which heroes are being picked the most and played the most, and why that is. But, which is essentially what a ban system would have done anyways. Because a ban system would have just, you would have done the same thing. Do you think such drastic changes / RNG makes Overwatch League less of a legitimate top tier esport? No, I do not. If anything, I would say it makes it even more legitimate, simply because of the fact that now players have to be masters of their role and understand ult economy, and coaches have to know how to teach it to their players. The only thing you miss out on is top set plays, but I'm gonna be real with you. People that say set plays happen at like a super frequent level at any esport in terms of like how they're executed for the majority are just wrong. It's not saying that set plays don't happen, but most of the time, gameplay in esports is all about how staff has drilled into you how you need to play your role, how you need to adapt, how you need to use your ults. Set plays are a definite minority of top tier gameplay, because the game is so, especially in Overwatch, because it's such a fluctuating game with so much shit happening. But Surefour did that one play 2 years ago. That was cool. Yeah. I know. Did Overwatch League pros know about this? Some did, some did not, apparently. I talked to a couple pros that said they did know about this, and I also seen other pros that said they had no idea about this. So I really don't know. It seems like it's very inconsistent with who knew and who did not. Should pros have known? I mean, I think that's probably a big enough change. I'm going to tell you the reason I think most pros weren't universally told. Here's the reason I'm going to tell you most pros were universally told. More than likely is that Blizzard doesn't trust them to not leak. Pros just leak the fucking shit like crazy. And that's the #1 reason. They just leak. So that's 100% why they probably weren't all told. It was a miracle the Overwatch League talent didn't leak it. Hex had to make a post. Hex had to make a post saying, here, let's bring it out. Hex had to literally make a post about how they didn't leak it. Okay? Why do you know? Because everyone talks to me, bro. Everyone talks to me. Do you see this newsroom setup? I have a full studio in-house, reporters on the ground. But overall, devs will balance the banned heroes before they're put back into ladder. Yes. Also, you have to take into account. Does this
mean that Flowchart Overwatch is dead?
No, because it depends on balance. Flowchart Overwatch isn't dead because if you ban heroes, you've just removed the equations of the flowchart, right? But as soon as you put them back, the flowchart still exists. So the only thing that defeats Flowchart Overwatch is balance. Is true balance. And so, but remember now they've said that they're looking to do patches on a weekly basis, potentially. So let's say if a hero is banned 1 week, that within the span of that week to the next, they could tweak the hero, because it was banned for like insane amounts of playtime, put it back into the next week, and then it's no longer busted. Right? So think about that one. That's really what people should be focusing on. I think hero pools are really, really cool, but the fact that Jeff has specifically said they're going to target the meta comps for balance, and they're going to target balancing much quicker, even on a weekly update basis, with the data now provided to them by hero pools, means they can sort of select targets that are way outperforming the equivalent heroes, like Orisa, Sigma, BAP, shit like that, and be like, well, this guy's getting played way too much. Why weren't they targeting the meta before? A great question. I don't have the answer to it. I really couldn't. I am fairly certain it's because there was a horde of 2,000 SR players that RP in Overwatch games, and they would literally march into the streets, burning down Blizz HQ, But Blizzard has decided that enough is enough. I think Blizzard decided enough is enough, and they're probably just going to target the meta now for going forward. So I guess they have no fear anymore. They have no fear of the RPers coming in. And, you know, whichever RPers they may be. Can we use the experimental card to tell the devs to delete 2CP? I'm pretty sure you could. The experimental card is something interesting, but do you think the hero pools is going to be a temporary thing in order to balance the game faster? No, I don't. I mean, but they did themselves say that it can be adjusted whenever they want. I don't think it's going to be temporary. It could transform, but I think overall a ban type of system is good for Overwatch in some form or fashion. But it could go away. They said it's not necessarily permanent. Hero pools could disappear. Because like any feature, if it's seen very negatively or it doesn't perform the way they want, they could remove it. So, it is something to keep in mind there, is that it's not necessarily a permanent feature. Eventually they'll drop it and make a normal ban system, perhaps. Please do an RP stream as May. That's not related to the news. That's very separate from what the news is. So do one-tricks get to feed in my games because they play off meta bullshit? I mean, what were one-tricks doing before? Just feeding only some of the time when they were countered? Why is only a certain threshold of feeding, like, that's okay? Right? Why do we have a threshold of feeding? Like, past this point, feeding's okay. But beyond! Ooh, beyond no more. Wouldn't you prefer that they either learn how to play the game or they feed the SR relentlessly and drop out of your ELO? Have you seen the ball montage? I have. Do you think players will get really tired, stressed with the constant meta shifts? I think, if anything, here, I think it'll make certain players, let's think about some of the people that have retired or left pro play because their heroes would simply never be viable with the current patching system and meta system. Pine? Like, you know, who else? Who do I got here? What are some other DPS players that have left? Pretty much. There have definitely been more, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Taimu's not retired. He's in contenders. Defran, yeah, Defran's a good one. Though Defran's a separate issue because he doesn't like pro play that much, but Shadowburn, I don't think Shadowburn's retired. But the point here is that I don't think the stress, I think people are overestimating the stress to, if anything, DPS players in particular are gonna be fucking ecstatic. And let's be real, that's all anyone ever cares about here because video game players are stupid and all they care about is DPS people that shoot. Alright? So DPS players should be ecstatic here because now they can play whatever the fuck they want. If anything, it's gonna be the main tanks and the supports that get owned. If anything, there's gonna be the main tanks and the supports that would get owned more so than DPS players and flex tank players even. But that being said, I don't think the stress added is going to be much. I think the travel is going to be far worse, but because the thing is now it's on the, I think really if anything we should be looking towards the staff. With this change now, Overwatch League staff is quite possibly the most important part of a team's future moving forward with this while this change is alive. Because it is on the coaching staff to drill into them the fundamentals of how Overwatch is meant to be played. Of how heroes, because also remember, there's still going to be hero swapping and all this other shit when certain heroes are banned, so you need to really understand what hero combinations are good, what hero combinations are bad, what are counters, how do you effectively set up your team fights, how do you effectively use your ult, when do you push, when do you make space, fundamentals. Very fundamental, axiomatic level shit. And that is where coaching staff needs to have, like, really understand the game and how to communicate information to their team. So, we'll see. Custis says he's gonna pull Overwatch League hero bans from a hat during post-match watch points. Okay. Well, If that's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to do. Do you think we'll end in wrongful nerfing? Like if the top 2 DPS are banned and everybody plays 2 other DPS that aren't necessarily OP but just work well with tanks, then will Blizzard nerf those DPS? Well, you have to take into account, like, hopefully Blizzard would see that if these heroes just work very well with these tanks, they won't nerf them. But then we get into a whole different discussion, right? Does Blizzard know how to recognize what things are good and, like, if it's just synergy or if it's just heroes being gone? I would hope so. And secondly, you have to remember now that even if they make shitty balance changes in the future, if they're planning on doing updates on a week or even a 2-week basis, just balance all this time, then realistically things can be fixed very soon if they fuck it up. So I do think it might lead to potentially some weird balance situations, but as long as it gets updated extremely quickly, then it's sort of a wash. It's a wash either way. Or things will snowball into insanity. Well, that's what many viewers want. I'm gonna be real with you. 80% of the viewers that watch Overwatch League could not give a shit. Could not give a shit if it was a cool play. They just want to see the shooty man shoot things. They want to see a 4-man kill streak on the kill streak. 80% of the people that watch Overwatch League don't give a shit. They would much rather be total chaos. They would rather see Steve-O on Sim and Avatar on Junk fucking running around the map as Amon fucking does a circular lasso motions into the celestial bodies than ever watch real gameplay. That's what 80% of viewers in Overwatch care about. The other 20% of them are gonna make a big fuss and say, oh, we do care about this. But like, probably 10% about those are also people that just want to concern troll in a way, as I feel. Because, like, I don't know how, some people just want to be pissed no matter what. 80% of viewers and 95% of Avast followers? Exactly. Exactly. And also, this doesn't, once again, I see someone saying teamwork weird champ. First of all, don't weird champ in my channel, okay? This is a silly champ channel. This is a silly champ zone. And secondly, teamwork does not go away. Just because Orisa is banned does not make teamwork go away. If anything, I've seen plenty of people argue that teamwork would go up because now your main tank players have to know how to take space again and how to not feed and how to not rely on just surviving for a million years, right?
And explosions, please, K, thank you.
Teamwork will only be increased, in my view, from bans because of the fact that players will now must know how to play Overwatch at the fundamental level. They can't just be like, we have practiced this meta for 8 million years. It is all we know. Fine dining and current meta. Breathing. Current meta. But now they actually have to think about, oh shit, what happens if this hero is gone? What happens if this hero is gone and I have to play this hero? I need to understand how to fucking play the game. One tricks in Overwatch League get playtime now, but I mean, yeah, actually, theoretically, yes, players whose heroes aren't quite as meta at the time will get more playtime if that very meta hero is banned from the hero pool. That is true. So we might see Chipsa enter the Overwatch League stage. We could very well see Chipsa play on the Overwatch League stage. I don't think it's going to happen still. I still don't think that's going to happen. But it's possible. It's possible. People just don't like change? Yes. People just don't like change. Now, I'm not going to argue and say this is the perfect solution. I don't think this is the perfect solution. There are probably better ways that could be done. But the reality is that I think the majority of people that get bored and tired with games and also don't like the balance of Overwatch in particular and how the direction of Overwatch has gone, they just want stuff to be faster and more chaotic and different. And this allows you to just, every week, it's almost like a whole different meta. It's a whole different meta every week in a lot of ways. And it still allows you to see top-level Overwatch League play because you'll still have very good players with hopefully good staff, figuring out what's best for that week, figuring out how to best play those heroes, and how to just play perfect Overwatch. What about competitive integrity? I don't think competitive integrity is all affected, myself. Because once again, it goes back to the argument that competitive integrity is entirely dependent on set plays in a lot of ways and strategy. But strategy doesn't go away because the heroes change. The biggest argument there is more of like, you have very small amounts of time to practice for each thing, which I think is fair. I think that's a fair argument, is that because of the time frame being so small, you don't have a lot of time to prepare and teams don't have as much time to prepare. And that is fair. That is a very fair argument. But also, the best teams and the best players will, and this is once again where we go back to staff being, I think, the most important component for Overwatch League teams this year. It's time for the staff to shine. It is time for staff. I'm gonna be real with you. Overwatch League coaches, you guys have been doing fuck all for the past 2 years, a lot of you. Fuck all! I've heard the reviews. I've heard the stories. I've heard them. It's just free money. It's free money for like half the people in the coaching staffs. Okay? I've heard so many players that I personally know, come tell me about these fucking coaches. So it's time for the staff to pick it up. It's time for the staff to pick it up, dude. It really is. It's time. So every Overwatch League team will be playing on a lower skill level as no one can be perfect one team comp. Yes. No, probably teams will not be perfect on team comps. There will no longer be perfection. But how many teams were perfect before? Even the best teams in certain comps, like let's take for example Shock in GOATS or Vancouver in GOATS, and then even like Boston season 1 of Stage 3 and New York for most of season 1, they were never perfect. They were never perfect on them. It never was. It was never perfection. Now you could argue that the ceiling of a comp could go down, but I'd argue that the floor, the skill floor of an Overwatch League player now must go up, right? You have the ceiling of proposed perfection within team play, but then the floor,
okay, very cool.
A very good overall play going up.
Now onto the important stuff. Avast, check your DMS. I sent you an important message, chat. Remember to vote for Joshin.
Do you think this makes larger rosters become important? I don't necessarily know if I think larger rosters were already more important already. I think if you didn't have a 12-man roster going into this season, I think you're kind of doing it wrong, because if someone just gets a boomed flight or gets really sick from travel or any other myriad of reasons, then you're kind of fucked if you don't have players. So, is the meta going to change every patch? Do we really know if Blizzard can effectively accomplish that without severely buffing a character to OP tier? No, they're not necessarily. The meta might not change every patch. We don't know. But also, the patches, if they happen every week, what happens if a character before, let's take for example old Blizzard Balance, right? Before, if a hero was super busted, Mercy, Brigitte. So imagine those heroes being very busted for 6 months at a time versus being busted for a week at a time. So what happens if, you know, you might buff a new hero into OP-ness every week, but then you debuff them the next week? I think that's still like a better solution than what it was before. The thing is, it took people more than a week to realize they were busted. Well, I mean, good, then we'll never know they're busted, because we'll just keep getting new patches. So no one will ever know it's busted. So then the viewers can always constantly watch weird shit happening. Perfect. Perfect. Perfect solution. What will we complain about? I know. People just want to be upset, right? Now, once again, this is not taking away... I do once again really agree with the criticism that if it's only a week per change and it's drastic changes, then that does reduce the amount of prep time that teams can do. And I think that's a fair criticism. But also, you're assuming that there will always be a patch every week. There will not always be a patch every week. And just because a couple heroes get removed from the pool, that doesn't necessarily totally change everything every single week. It doesn't. Sometimes it might minimally affect what the next week's gonna look like, depending on the heroes. just to remove PTR, I mean, I don't know. PTR has always been a hot topic because it's like, well, PTR makes sense in theory, but no one wants to play on PTR because you don't, there's no reason to because you don't get rewards compared to live. So, I don't know. PTR is a whole separate issue. Jeff never said there'd be patches every week, just more frequently the hero pool will change every week. Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying it's a possibility patches could happen on a weekly basis if it required it to do so, but there's not a guarantee. But the hero pool will change every week, so there's no guarantee the meta will drastically shift every week, because hero pool changes don't necessarily always impact the meta super prominently. I thought the Overwatch League note said it takes into account the most played heroes from this last 2 weeks. Does that mean the hero pool changes twice a month? I think how it works is that it's staggered. So instead of it being twice a month, it's still every week, but it includes that past week of data, more than likely. I'm not sure, though. It could very well be staggered for twice. Do you think this Mick fucks the New York Excelsior and Spark? Any teams that I think are good? I mean, if anything, New York should be fucking happy. There's a chance that BAP and Sigma and Orisa could all be gone and shit, and then who are you could just waltz on out on the Genji because it's not banned, right? And who are you could just bring out fucking Genji again? Hoppa could play shit other than Diva. If anything, New York only gets stronger. Right? Like, their flexibility, once again, Mono could be on Winston because Orisa's banned. And maybe the next week he'll also go back to Orisa, but who knows, right? Because now it won't be the same combos anymore because another tank will be banned. It could be Sigma banned then. There ain't B222. There do B222, Jack. It's still there. So, my view on it is, don't think it's, in summary, don't think it's perfect. I think it's weird that they preached about no bans, but then they're just gonna do the bans anyways themselves. But overall, I'm excited for it. I like the direction where they, specifically for the balance, where they said they're gonna be attacking the meta a lot more frequently. I think it's a far better overall balance philosophy for the game. And that's pretty cool. What if Widow and Diva get banned? Pharah OP? I mean, there could be a week where Pharah is the most important hero. But also, you would hope that your flex DPS heroes could play Pharah. You would hope that your flex DPS players could play Pharah, right? Wouldn't you hope that? I think this only further improves the skill floor for Overwatch League moving forward because it requires all of your players to know how to play multiple roles. You won't have players that have only played one role, and then when the meta shifts, they're fucked. Or their hero's gone, they're fucked. That's a silly thing. That's silly. No other esport that's MOBA-esque within League and Dota really operates within that system, you know? It doesn't operate within the system of like, well, my hero's not meta anymore, so I'm retiring. You know, only Overwatch has really operated within that system. We may see the lurking legend of Axiom emerge from the square shadow of fusions. It's possible. Definitely. So, and also I do think it's weird that they're not using the pool for the hero pools for mid-season tournaments, the play-in tournament, or grand finals or the playoffs. But if you think about it, removing the pool then means that what people, the 20% of viewers that really care about this, or 30 or whatever, then you can be like, well, now we're stuck on one meta for those big tournament moments and those playoff and grand finals moments, so teams can just refine themselves on that current patch and that current meta after it's been shifting all throughout the season. And this is something Reddit complains about all the time. Reddit, and a lot of people, not just Reddit, I feel like it's not fair to just only shit on Reddit here, is that pros are often really stuck in their ways because they're not incentivized to break outside the current comps. Pros aren't incentivized to break outside the current comps at all. But what happens if we spend the whole season incentivizing the pros to break out of the current compositions, and then we get to the playoffs and the mid-season tournaments and such like that, And now, because they've been forced to experiment the whole season, we could see some much more interesting comps than what we're expecting come playoffs and grand finals. Because now they actually were incentivized to learn how to play outside what everyone accepted as broken. So I do think when we look at these changes back to back and back, it's all it is forcing Overwatch League players and Overwatch League staff and all of these things to move forward. You can give them incentive by targeting meta with balancing and not forcing hero pools. I mean, yeah, I would agree with you there. You could also say you don't need hero bans, but realistically, even if Blizzard will never have perfect balance, so why not just have a hero pool just to fuck it up? I still think hero pools are not terrible. Do I think they're ideal? I would rather hero bans, but also if you had hero bans, then you also still have the problem of people being like, well, our heroes that we practice with got banned. So either way, you arrive at the conclusion that pros are going to have to diversify unless you're perfectly okay with meta comps existing for periods of time. If you're fine with meta comps existing for periods of time, like even if they're shorter now because the balance changes, let's say maybe 2 to 3 months versus 6 months to a year, then that's your argument, right? But if you would prefer to have a much more varied playstyle and a much more flexible playstyle all the time, then hero bans and hero pools are probably what you're looking for. Hero pools are different in open contenders in Overwatch League, but top contenders teams scrim bottom mid to Overwatch League with localization and poorly set up hero pools. Teams are now going to get even less scrim time in an environment where they need more than ever before. Hero pools are different, really, they are. Well, I mean, you also have to take into account the fact that some practice is better than others. Would you rather practice an Overwatch League team to improve your overall gameplay as a contenders team? Or would you, even if it's not the exact meta that you're going to be playing, or would you rather practice that meta versus contenders teams? And that's up to the teams to decide, right? That's up to the teams to decide. But the reality of the situation is, for contenders teams, for getting into Overwatch League, also, what's very important is, let's say you play Overwatch League teams and it's not the meta that you're going to play in contenders, but you pop off. And let's say your team fucking flames out. Do you know how many contenders players were not that good on contenders? They really weren't. They were okay. But Overwatch League teams knew who they were and scoured them and said, you know what? This guy has potential, so we're going to move them up. Contenders teams should be looking at that and saying, this is probably still the best option for us. Because we'd rather scrim against Overwatch League teams and improve our overall play than worry about specific metas. Because I'm going to be real with you. Winning contenders does not matter to Overwatch League teams. Everyone that any contenders players that are here that care about contender performance, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It really does not matter at all. Like, they don't care if you win contenders. Is it nice? Sure. But they don't care if you win it because Overwatch League teams have very separate priorities on how they scout people. They say they are looking for what they view as the best performance out of a player, not winning contenders. What is happening? What's going on? Watch tourney video? Which tourney video? Which one? Which one am I supposed to watch? Which one am I supposed to watch?
Hey,
Joshin's?
Your analysis. Can we watch the tourney vid after the discussion?
Which one? Which one? Which tourney video? Yours? Okay. So we are... Does that mean contenders players should strive to show off if it means that the team might be hurt? No. No, it doesn't. It does not mean that at all. It simply means that you should be focused on your individual... You should be focused on your play as an overall, like, improving your individual play alongside your team and showing you can work in a team environment versus prioritizing we only must win contenders. Because if you are improve at your best as an individual player and improve your fundamentals as an individual player, at the contenders level, you're going to do really well. I don't see any videos. No one has sent me a video. No one has sent me a video. I don't have a single video. Zero. Zero. Invictus, I have no video. Okay. What are you talking about? Okay. Okay, so also, this is separate to this conversation, but I'm running a sub-tournament on Saturday and Sunday it's going to be 18 tournament, and we're going to watch, and people want to see some promo stuff, and they've been campaigning and things like that. So we're going to watch this quick sub-tournament video. Let's see, what do I want to do here? Bring this up. So as advertisement for the sub-tournament. Okay. Here we go. Let me turn off the
Get it?
And if you guys didn't see, we'll go back to it. We'll go back to this. Where is the captains? These are the captains. These are the captains of our teams. So if you want to be involved in that, these are all the current captain perspectives. With their team name, with their, their various team names and such. And if you want to be involved in that, you can go to my Discord, and we'll do that there. And if everything does well with the sub-tournament, we'll probably do more of them that are larger in the future. But, okay, we watched the video. Are you guys happy? Are you happy, chat? Can we get back to talking about what the general populace cares about? Because the general populace also cares about this news. Welcome, Umlaut, to the chat. What's the hero pool for the tournament? Well, hero pools, are they currently... This is a great question. Are the hero pool... It's not going live till season 21, so we're probably not going to worry about hero pools or such about that. We're probably not going to worry about hero pools for the first sub-tournament.
So for sub-tourney, winning team will get T3 gifted subs from me for winning.
Oh, so Sangirl will give tier 3 gifted subs to those that win the tournament. I see. And you get your exclusive tier 3 and tier 2 emotes.
So may
Very
I
nice.
please send you my propaganda in DMS to view on stream?
Very nice.
Poland.
Yes, all the captains, if you want to send me your propaganda for me on stream right now, you can. And we'll go through it at the end of the we'll go through it. So yeah, that's my... Josh, and I have your... I'm going to do it through Discord, not through donos. It's impossible for me... It's really hard for me to click it on the donos. So just give it to me through Discord. That's easier. That's easier. Ad feels Reddit, man. Added. Added. There you go. Added. Hope everyone's happy. So yeah, that's... let's see, are there any news to go on about here? Any hot takes for us to look at? Any hot takes for us to look at here? What is this? This is the Florida GM. Okay. Alright, hot takes, let's see. Let's see Dogman. Bro, honestly, this shit is crazy. For better or for worse, Blizz just put their balls on the table and stabbed it with a... What? 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 What is the... What's the point Dogman's trying to make here, exactly? What is the point Dogman's making here? That Blizzard is really good at not cutting their own balls? Let me, chat, help me decipher this. help me decide. Caterade, thank you for the sub, by the way. Blizz is shooting themselves in the foot pretty much. But I don't really see. Okay, so that's. I can see that. Blizz is shooting them. He's saying Blizz is going all out, but have shot themselves in the foot. But I don't really see how that could be. How this update could be interpreted as that. How is this the update we're negative about? How is this like the one? How is this the update we're super negative about? Of all things, do I get being skeptical? Sure. But Blizz hasn't done like some sort of the stone code of Hammurabi where they're just like, this shall be chiseled into the pillar. This shall be chiseled into the pillar that we will now have hero pools forever. They will never go away, and they will always exist in this fashion. Like, they've already said that there's open to change it. You think they'll undo hero pools if it's that negative? People said they would never do any sort of ban system ever, and where are we? Where are we, chat?
Where are we? Chat, I need everyone in the crowd. Can we look to see where we're at? Look to your left. Look to your right. Are we in the universe with listed hero bans? The answer is yes.
After everyone said I didn't think they'd ever do hero bans. I didn't think we were ever going to do hero bans. So this is new. I mean, this is where we're at. I dislike this change. I don't like the hero pools at all and the high frequency of the change, but I like the fact that they're actually balancing the game. Well, you know, if you like that they're balancing, so you don't like the frequency of the change or hero pools, but you like that they're changing the game. So do you want like a more medium-sized amount of change? Like only balance once every month versus once every 2 weeks or so? Because if so, I mean, that's fine, if that's what you want. Are Overwatch players too dumb to do hero bans themselves? I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. What is that even supposed to mean? Are you saying why aren't Overwatch players breaking into the Blizzard studio and coding the hero ban system themselves? Are they saying they're not coding it themselves? But I will say yes. Do I think Overwatch players can be stupid? Yes. But I think every esports player base is really stupid. Because after viewing all the content and hearing the stories from all these other different people and talking to other talent in other games, they're all just like, damn, our players are stupid. What's your take on casters quitting the Overwatch League? Well, that's very nuanced and probably not appropriate for me to say. I will say it is not a black and white issue by any means. So, not nearly a black and white issue. Blue, with the gifted sub to Carter. Thank you, Blue. You are/were a player, though? Yeah, but I was the exception. Because obviously, I'm the exception, chat. We're all exceptions here. Everyone that's in this chat right now, we're not stupid. The other people are stupid, right? Not us. Not us. Okay? We're the smart ones, obviously. Surely we would never be dumb. Surely not. Avast just trolling for those subs now? I mean, you can still be in the channel and not subbed. Just because, am I supposed to not interact with non-subs? Should I just like, could I put all non-subs in a cage and just be like, bad non-subs, I do not speak to you. I do not speak to you, non-subs. Check New York's Instagram story, bro. I don't want to have to go to Instagram. I don't want to go to Instagram. Napalm with the Prime. Oh, there you go. Now you're part of the subgroup, Napalm. Monty tweet. This could be good. Overwatch League is basically playing ranked games now. Rest in peace, actual planning, set plays, and strategy. I agree with 1 point. Set plays, maybe. Everything else, no. Set plays, maybe. Everything else, no. And I really don't even want to look at the rest of this comment train because I know exactly what I'll find. Though I understand Monty's perspective, because it's the perspective of people like Sideshow. Thank you, Astro, by the way. It's the perspective of people like Sideshow, of a lot of players. Like, I think Custa. Custa was having, like... He brought up a lot when the meeting... When Overwatch League brought up a lot of this stuff, potentially, I think Custa's probably a person that brought up, like, a lot of the concerns about player... Like, the adaptability of players. So, some people really do have the views that this could hurt strategy, but I don't necessarily think that it's the case.
Here, chat, have some emotes.
Thank you, Rat, for giving us some emotes. Custa concerned about player adaptability because his team was too stupid to play with him. That's true. That's pretty true. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. I like the frequent balance changes. I feel like that would have been enough without Affinity's hero pool. I think that's fair. I think frequent balance changes isn't necessarily... I don't think hero pools were required either, and with frequent balance changes. But they did it, so we'll see how it works out. I'm just not going to be overly pessimistic about it until I actually view it in action. Can I see some downsides already, when especially response to prep time and set plays in particular? Yes, but I can see upsides about, like, variability, of focusing a lot more on Overwatch fundamentals, and staff being able to teach your players how to play the game at a basic level. And also with its aid and balance by identifying which heroes are problems or not. So I think there are a lot of benefits to it, but there can also be some negatives that I'll just have to see what the result is. Doesn't this open up more opportunity for bench players? Yes, it does. For players that have historically had heroes that haven't quite been as meta, for this season in particular, because I think after this season, if hero pools exist, the player base will just get more and more flexible. Like, there will no longer be sort of two-trick type of players. There will be players that can play a lot more variety of heroes and will be forced to do so. But for this year, at least, I do think it will open up the opportunity for players who might not have expected to be seen to play. You know who else? We always meme about, but what about AKM? AKM could actually play, potentially, this year. We could even see AKM potentially play. We could see, you know, all sorts of players that we weren't expecting to play this year. Chipsa, you know? Am I saying it's going to happen 100%? Not necessarily. But it does open up that possibility. A sure for tweet? This is fine for me because I'm a flex god, yeah. I mean, if you guys didn't see, flex DPS players were on the ground telling every main tank player and hitscan player that they had genetic superiority. I feel flex DPS players, like, love this. Flex DPS players fucking love this shit because now they can play whatever they want. If you are a true flexible DPS player, and if you're an off-tank player, or if you're a flex support player, you can literally play, like, anything. Now you're allowed to play anything, and you're not stuck. The people that are most affected are, like, hitscan players, main supports, and main tanks.
5 seconds of sponsored time to say you're gonna like the way I draft. I guarantee it.
Oh, I'm sure I'm gonna like it. This is a huge bonus to Super Stonks because Ryan might also see a lot of play. Well, Ryan was, from everything I heard, was being played a lot anyways. So, so that might not even really matter. But I heard Ryan was getting played a lot anyways. Yo, Avast, New York Insta story kind of quirky though. Okay, fine. We're gonna look at the New York Instagram story. Actually, wait, I can't look at I have to be logged in on Instagram to see a story, right? Fuck! I don't remember my login info. I don't remember my login info for this. I literally have it written down somewhere. I don't know what it is. I don't use Instagram that much.
Justice. Reinhardt. Reinhardt.
What role do you think will be most affected by the hero pool thing? Tank? No, I think main tank. Tank will definitely be by far the most effective because certain tanks only have, compared to support even, tanks have like the least amount of overlapping roles, I think. But main tanks and main supports will probably by far have the weirdest time adjusting, I think. Writing down passwords, be boomer? There's nothing be boomer about. Dude, I mean, it can't, it's physically here. It can't be seen or stolen unless someone comes and takes it. What's wrong with writing down passwords? Do you think Lucio will keep getting fucked because he will have a high pick rate? I think Lucio might get fucked occasionally, yeah, but I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. Main supports don't want to have to play Lucio all the time. Certain people, Astro, would love to just play Lucio 24/7 all the time, non-stop. But certain other main supports would love to be able to show that they can play other heroes and they're flexible. Like, certain main supports really want to actually play other shit than just Lucio and then just Mercy. They would like to play Ana, Xin, Bat. Hell, even Moira, you know? I DM'd you on Twitter their Insta story? Okay. Here's what we'll do. We'll look at, if you DM'd me on Twitter, maybe I can see it. What? Is this actually it? Is this actually it? Is this actually the story? No fucking way. No way, this is the actual story. Is this actually it? You gotta be kidding me. This can't be right. Honestly, New York, you're right. I am a neuroscientist. I can give any answer you need, anything you need fixed. I will do it. For an appropriate amount of money. An appropriate amount. Not a lot. Not a little. An appropriate amount. Why is it a hard adjustment for main takes when all you have to do is be good at like 4 heroes? Well, because it's only the reason I'm citing main tanks and main supports specifically is because historically throughout Overwatch, main tanks and main supports have only played like 2 heroes. Main tanks and main supports have played like 2 heroes throughout all of Overwatch. It's Mercy, Lucio, and Winston Ryan. And then Swiftly, and then a little bit of Orisa. So now. That's the only reason why I'm saying those 2 roles in particular. But now they need to add in Ball. Now they need to add in, if they grew up in an Orisa meta or a Ryan meta, now they need to also talk, now they have to, you know, get these other heroes. What happens if a main tank, what if the best combination of tanks in the future, chat, you guys haven't thought about this. What happens if in the future, the tank meta is better with two what is considered off tanks versus a main tank? What happens if Diva Hog is the best meta? Because of how the hero roles and the patches worked out. There is a distinct possibility that could happen. Not that it would happen, but I'm saying it could. That's why I'm saying I think simply because of the size of the fact that tanks don't have a lot of overlapping roles for main tanks, that it can affect them negatively. Main tanks doesn't take any skill anyways. Alright, well.